Here we go.
Hello?
Hey, Karen.
Hey,
Uh,
hey, Ak.
Hey, we're live. I think you know that, but we're live. We're kind of talking about everything. I just came back from Toronto. Caravan was amazing. So I get to look at the
Oh,
couple.
this is why. This is why when you don't text back, you're fucking on a jet. This
Yeah.
is why.
Now I was kind of outside a little bit, you know. I was moving
Okay.
around, but I'm back now, and this is a major topic. We're talking about the whole YG Drake to the ruler. Drake is now coming to the mix, and you're now like thrusted into the thing because
Ah,
we have a
I
tweet up that said you responded to a comment and you said turn this
mhm.
up, and people have had many different reactions to it. Could you explain?
Okay. Okay.
Hey yo, you're
One,
locked in with Waking Up TV.
let's turn it down a little bit and
Okay, let's
calm
turn it back
down
down now.
on my behalf. So first and foremost, I did not realize like I tweeted turn this up because I thought the conversation was paid media, like and speaking negatively about like YG. And I wanted to hear the full context. I did not realize it was gonna include like insinuations that have to do with Drake or claims of Drake. Like I didn't even realize that was what's the gentleman's name?
Glasses Malone.
Glasses, sorry. I didn't realize it was Glasses Malone. And even in that, again, nothing wrong with it. I know he has his own personal issues, um, with OVO, Drake, he's been very vocal in that. So again, once I realized the insinuations with Drake and the claims, like where it was going, I just deleted the tweet because, again, I don't necessarily subscribe to that conversation or those notions.
Okay, and I'm
Yeah.
thank you so much for even like clarifying it. But,
Yeah.
so, all right, so you basically thought this was a conversation on the surface about paid media, paid narratives, and
So
what
look,
is happening.
I saw the tweet like real quick. I'm like, oh, okay, they're having a conversation about like I really have this internal thing. I've been having conversations with like friends where I feel like the LAPD in a sense, or not just even the LAPD, police now are using media to continue their investigations and do certain things. That's a whole nother topic. So when I saw paid media, YG, what was transpiring, I'm like, oh, okay, this goes into what I was discussing. Turn this up. Then I go into full context. I see who it is, the conversation where it's going, and the claims against Drake. That's where I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to delete this because I do not support what's being insinuated, and I don't want my willingness to listen to mistake it as an agreement. That's why I deleted it. And then people who asked, I responded to them like, yeah, I don't subscribe to that notion because I know people see Drake as like the product. This is somebody who's been in this business 15 plus years. I see the person, and it's a very sensitive topic. Even YG too, just the last couple of years, it's a very sensitive topic around all of that, especially conversation around him. So I don't play the online games, and not just him. But yeah, I don't play the online games and using this as entertainment because what's happening to people in their real lives, like this is not entertainment.
Did any or either or reach out to you, whether it's YG or Drake or anyone from Drake's team that either comments on this? Because obviously it spread like wildfire, but it was seen as an endorsement, and obviously people know you've worked with YG. I don't know if
Oh,
you've ever worked
no,
with.
no, no, nope. It's not an endorsement. I didn't
That's how
speak
people
to
seen it.
like.
That's what I'm saying initially. That's how they
Oh,
saw
okay,
it.
okay. No, no, no. Which I appreciate you providing that clarity. I didn't go into it with YG. I didn't speak to him about that. We didn't go back and forth. I actually spoke to. I didn't speak to anybody on the overall camp. I don't really thing there, but yeah. I mean, if they do reach out, if it ever gets to that thing, it's not negating that at all. Like because at the end of the day, I'm a civilian, like my name, and it's unfortunate situation, and I'm gonna just keep saying that it's an unfortunate situation um, on both ends when it just has to do with these two people who are like, yeah.
Yeah, I was I was thinking that this would be something. Obviously, you've cleared it up now, but I'm thinking.
Mhm,
I'm just telling you what I thought initially. I
mhm.
was like, well, I know
Yeah,
you've had a relationship in the past with Wayne, which is Young Money, and Drake
yeah,
kind of comes from that camp. So, and I know you also have had a relationship with YG, but also like Nipsey.
yeah.
I would think that
All because
knowing
of
you.
all of the things.
It,
Yeah, no. Knowing me, first and foremost, act because we've been through
yeah, yeah,
this like from a business front. Like if
yeah.
it's conversation things, that's first and foremost. Like I don't predicate to get into this like these back and forth where I feel like a whole bunch of other people are included. And I'm always gonna be on the stance when it comes to like I don't really have a vocal POV because my POV on Drake is not necessarily one that a lot of people may agree with or understand. This is somebody I've been in Los Angeles for 14 plus years. Throughout my time in Los Angeles, with talent, different people that I've worked with, he's been super instrumental. He's been always very supportive. Um, yeah, so I don't have like the bad to subscribe to him or the to negate what everybody else is saying in certain things. I've never had that. Like I've never had those challenges. He's always been amazing. Like when I started my website, like he was super amazing in just like the process of that and just always being a supportive person when it comes to like independent artists.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't have a conversation. Just to answer your question, I didn't have a conversation on both ends. I didn't necessarily think it to. I apologize if it caused a fiery storm, but deleted it. Yeah, I deleted it. I didn't realize where this conversation can go. Sorry, my age is showing. And yeah, that's not entertainment to me at all.
Yeah.
So deleted, move from it because it's not entertainment. These people, like, I understand. Like same thing for YG and Drake, and hopefully you read between the lines of what I'm saying. I don't subscribe to talking about like it's 5 to 6 artists: the Drake, the YG, the Kendricks, the Jay-Z's, and certain people, the Nicki Minaj's, and conversation online because it's so much other stuff. And when you're working in this business, you come face to face. You're working with these people in close proximity. So yeah, I value that, and I take that serious within itself. So I'm not going to be playing online and giving falsified POV.
No, no, of course. I do want to kind of get into what you were kind of aiming at because there is a larger conversation about that. And I wonder where you kind of have seen, you've been around for a long time, really even before me, congrats to all your success. But when you talked about, all right, so you meant to speak about like just paid media and maybe paid narratives or whatever. That has been a subject that people are talking about, right? Shit. Recently, we've seen Charlemagne the God, who felt like there's certain propagandas going out, maybe going against certain artists, for certain artists, whatever it is. I wonder what you think about that. You're behind the scenes. You kind of see everything. You see everyone's hands. And what do you specifically think about how that's affected someone like YG, especially maybe like in a recent year?
Hey, yo, you're locked in with Waking Up TV.
I don't want to just say it affects him, just speaking in general. So now that publications aren't as prevalent as they once was, right? Now we're in this new digital stream and certain things, and everybody's utilizing their phone. So advertising looks very much different now in that lens, right?
Yep.
So a label may not spend the $20,000-$30,000 on putting out an ad, where they may take that budget. Now they're creating a whole bunch of online content, advertising, things that don't look like kind of ads, that's curated content. That has been full stream the last couple of years. It's a gift and a curse, where I don't necessarily know somebody who would take their budget or spend their own money to negatively bash or whatever somebody else, especially when you have this fixed budget. Labels say, we have $20,000. You're not going to put that $20,000 to say, hey, I'm not going to spend that $20,000 to go, academic sucks. I hate academics, when I could use it to go Karen this, Karen that, and make myself more prominent in media. So
I've seen it though. I've commented on that. I've said that.
But the thing is, it lives in that space if you have the budgeting for it. But when you think, like, even I posed the question and the response to glasses, when you now think of, like, I think in that podcast post, now when you think of the new independent audience, the new independent artists, how do they now compete in this digital age and things like that. Because before you could probably listen to music, but now with paid content, paid media and certain things, like where do they live, how do they get a chance to function and be heard outside of, say, like a platform like TikTok, with Instagram and Twitter and things like that.
Mm.
So
Yes.
that was a conversation like I eventually posed and was like, this lives, no offense to Drake, but I'm like, let's have a bigger conversation outside of Drake, where what happens now, like how are we controlling how paid media works when it comes to the independent artists who don't have the budget? How are we helping them?
So let me elaborate on this conversation a little
Yeah.
bit, and hopefully the audience could find some type of silver lining here.
Yeah.
And I've always called these out because
Yeah.
I think I'm one of the most transparent people in media in terms of I've always told people what I've gotten paid for. Like I don't think
Yeah.
it's nothing I need to hide about it. So if I'm like, hey, I
Yeah.
get paid to promote music, there's no need to hide or whatever, and not disclose that. But I've also told them, like, at times, like, for example, I'm very cool with Playboy Cardi. Someone
Yeah.
at a time didn't really tell me what artists they were representing, but they had money to send over, and they said, hey, listen, could you post this? It was a negative article against Cardi. It was like, hey, his concert isn't doing well. People are walking out. It's clearly because they wanted to promote something, to promote an idea that Playboy Cardi, maybe his concerts aren't doing as well as you may think. But I wonder who would that benefit, right? Like, and that goes down a realm. Now, I turned it down. I even said it publicly. But I think now these days people actually believe, right, that there are ongoing campaigns that people are funding. And I'm guessing the reason why it gets to a Drake is people think that you must have a big ass budget if you could just fund a campaign not to promote yourself, but to put somebody down. I think that's where, if I'm thinking Glasses isn't, being misled by some other, crazy lunatic, I gotta think that he's thinking like that as well. It's the same thing with and people on another side think, like, for example, there's a bunch of like ideas about, oh, Drake and, like, legal gambling or whatever. That felt like it was being pushed out there as a negative story against him, but who would have the power and authority to do it? So what you've seen. Go ahead.
So look, I get that. I 100% get that. And this is where I sit with it, right? Mm-hmm. So I can't fully answer that question because I don't know where you sit with, say, somebody like a Glasses. I think if it ever gets to the point where what is confusing and what is missing in hip hop is dialogue. And that dialogue of us having a difference of opinion, and that's fine, but still being able to articulate, have the conversation, the discourse, and move forward. I think really that's the question you would chime in if it ever gets to that place. You ask him because it's obviously some more underlining, or he's really strong about his POV. That's one. But the other thing I think it's really important for people to understand too is, like, when it comes to relationships and paid media, right? If I have a relationship, the same way I may have a relationship with, I love Joe Buttons, right? I may have a relationship with Joe, right? If me and Joe have a friendship and we're cool, he's not going to say, if there's a negative post about me, or if there's gossip, if there's thing, he may not necessarily post it. If it's something in favor of me, he may discuss it. But that's not me asking him to. That's because we have a rapport and a relationship. I think a lot of that also needs to be included when you think about Drake, because for so long people were speaking so negatively about him, but he's helped a lot of people, and that includes in media too. He has his relationships. One of them is you. So anytime you speak about somebody who may have been in battle or in competition with Drake, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're paying him. That means it's probably a conversation you want to have, or, you know what? This my man, folks are speaking. I want to do that. There's so many other things that come into that facet. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying.
No, I completely get it.
Yes, it could be paid media. You could have a relationship with the person where it's like, no, this person can't. I know Drake can't come on a computer and say XYZ, so I'm going to say it on his behalf, if that is even a thing. But he's not the only one. A lot of people have relationships the same way people to this day, when they see me, they assume Nicki Minaj, even though I haven't worked for her in years. It's the same way as, like, people just assume the, the connection, even though there's not one there. So I
What,
say just take it. I, I say pretty much take it like that when it comes to him. There are people who fuck with him at the end of the day,
I agree.
and that they're gonna rally for him, and that's just what it is. But there are people who do. But we gotta call a spade all the way around, because it's mud being thrown on both sides of this entertainment industry, and I'm not referring to just YG, where it's mud being thrown on both sides. So it's like, okay, so we just got to sit back and kind of just watch. But if we're going to accuse Drake of something, like, if you're going to accuse the other side of something, I just feel like things are being done on both sides, so you can't necessarily point the finger if that's the case.
Yeah. No. 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 No.
Yeah.
You're
And
exactly
I'm
right.
and when I go into that, I'm meeting paid media in your favor. I'm meeting your friendships, who you align with. One is not bigger than the other, and you can't complain. So if you cool with that person, this person is cool here. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I think this is a new kind of realm, even though this has been around, where I think people are
No,
looking at
it's
it.
this hasn't been around in this capacity. This is brand new, because before, what was it? It was like, you knew what it was. It was the new music cartel and certain things where it was like, oh, we just have a conversation and that's that.
No,
You
no,
weren't
yeah,
at
I mean
this.
it's a
No,
narrative
one second.
war. It's a
No.
narrative
Yeah,
war.
a narrative. Yes, it is a narrative war now, where like 50%, 57% of the internet. I don't know if you read this recent article. I'm gonna send it your way too, where it said 50% of the internet is not real and is based off perception. So yes, it's a whole new thing where it's paid media narrative, it's digital storytelling is king right now. So an artist has to figure out a way to filter through.
Yeah, I think the internet
Yeah,
was a little shocked by this downturn, and also the internet is more knowledgeable than it's ever been. Because I think for a lot
yeah,
of people, they remember Drake and YG doing records that are platinum, and they had a
yeah,
great relationship. So I think this, even you mentioned conversation, and
yeah,
not to throw you into the fire, because I'm pretty sure
yeah.
once you get to a certain level, you're like, keep me out the group chat. But would you be open to try to foster? Because this clearly seems that YG might be believing this idea of, oh, Drake is trying to, and this is a serious allegation. He's trying to fund a
Yeah.
campaign to get me investigated for a murder. Like at that point is like, that's like playing street through propaganda. Would you foster a conversation possibly if you were in the position between them? Because I really don't know where their issues stem from.
Yeah.
There's so many like rumors, but you
Yeah.
you seem pretty cool with YG. I'm wondering if I remember when you hit me up and you were like, "Hey, um, Act, could I get you on the phone with Nipsey?" And out of respect for you, and I know how, if when you
Yeah.
make that call, what it means.
Yeah.
We got on a phone call, and we had a beautiful, like, it was talking for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Would you try to insert yourself in this way, or is it one of those things you're like, this is men at this point, and I'm just gonna exit,
Hey
stage
yo,
left.
you're locked in with Waking Up TV.
I'm in this situation. I'll have the back end conversation if that is even a POV that YG is thinking, which I highly doubt. Which he's thinking. I don't want to speak on his behalf,
He was
but
shouted out
that's
in the battle. He was like, "Yo, I think my nigga Banger set like YG. I thought it was all great gravy."
yeah. You know what? And that's the part that I can speak on. I've seen their work history, being on set of the video, watching him stay longer than necessary. He was
Hmm.
always amazing and supportive. I can't talk about where the relationship stands now, and like we kind of know why, like it's a domino effect when issues and fallout whatever happen. But that's a conversation I'd probably have to have with him if it even is at that place right now where he's even thinking that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I can't, like, as I'm talking to you right now, how many do I have? I have two. I have two featured Drake plaques on my office wall. So it's like, again, I'm never going to, and this is one I sit with, I'm never going to negate, um, you know, the work, the love, the time, the effort, that he didn't have to do, that he put into a lot of people and showed love to the underdog and still do to this day. But me saying that, I don't want to negate whoever else's experiences, similar to like my relationship with Nikki. She was always amazing to me, but I can't negate somebody else's experience. And I never want to feel like I'm devaluing it. But for me, like, and when I tell people this, like, Drake was very instrumental and when it comes to artists and just, just different work and stuff like that, especially in my career, watching him pass through the different things. Same thing with YG and Nip. So hopefully they get through this. Because it's been a trying couple of years since this battle, and watching, unfortunately, everybody, you're watching the dominoes kind of fall from this thing. And I just feel like hip hop hasn't fully recovered from it. From a personal and business space, because a lot of things were said. And yeah, again, these are people. I don't want to talk about them like they're products. These are people, who got families, who, these are people.
What's your relationship, or like how closely, maybe either a work capacity or at least just still being a friend, are you to YG these days? Because
we're still in a great work capacity. Okay. I actually did a song off the project.
Oh, okay.
I think the timing is a little weird.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be thing, but yeah, his song "Oh My God" with Pusha T, I'm really excited about. So that one, but
wait, did you like A&R that joint? You kind of put it together? Oh wow.
Yes. So
it's always hard to describe what you do when you pretty much fit like every bill. Like at times you could come off like an executive, you could be an A&R, you could be someone who's seen as an assistant, you could be seen as a PR, mogul. Like you kind of do everything.
I like to say an executive, a woman that gets things done, but I'm not so prevalent and fixated on the title, because titles can be given and titles taken away. So think of it in community. I'm an executive who runs my Always Civil business, which is multimedia branding marketing company. So if there's a way to create conversation to put you in new spaces, that's what we do. So if that includes your music, your digital footprint, endorsements and opportunities and things between. Yep. So for YG in that situation, it was getting him a different sound, something thing. So it worked out with that. But yes, to answer your question, it's still a great working relationship and stuff there. To sidebar and have this, I don't necessarily, I don't know if he feels that way. I don't want to speak on his behalf and think that's what it is, because they have, outside of the noise, they had their own personal relationship. And the reason why, I don't divulge and do too much on the entertainment, because when people find their way back to each other, you don't want to be on the outskirts of that. And that's gonna,
We've seen that happen before.
Yeah, and lots.
I think Adam, he did a broadcast and he said that he had reached out to Drake, and basically Drake had confirmed that he wasn't aware of a problem with YG. And I don't know, this might be getting too deep. You might not even know some of these stuff, but apparently YG never got along with the deceased rapper Drake Hill, and Drake did a collab with him. So I guess Adam was asking, like, hey, is that kind of the reason, or he was trying to figure out why maybe YG would even believe this? And supposedly Drake was like, he was dumbfounded. He was like, no, I really don't have, and maybe he was, because again, he shouted out YG in the battle 2 years ago. So I mean, I feel like we're kind of waiting on YG here. Again, I know you're not speaking for him.
I think it's like, I can only take, what Adam is saying. Like, I'm not calling him thing. I can only, because it's like at this point we're playing telephone. If that's the context of that, those two knew each other. They made music. It gets to that point. I know a lot of things have materialized, things were said, and whatever else. They will figure that out. But I'm be transparent. I don't even know where that lives. I don't know where that lives, why people the way they do, if they feel the way they do and whatnot, because it shouldn't even be to this place. Especially when it comes to music, entertainment, and things like that. We're so in a space of division, when the business of music and the branding and everything around it, people's businesses are growing in a space where we should be connected. And unfortunately, we're not. And when I say that, this is me going off on a tangent, but the same week is Fanatics Fest. All this talent is in New York, but the same week is like the Knock the Thing in New Jersey. So I think about those moments of like, damn, y'all need to also go to this. We should be celebrating this and all be in one, because it's not often where you get a Fanatics Fest, but at the same time, here's this hip hop person putting on the same thing that is similar to, and this is one person, and this is a person of what? Like Fanatics was like 150 different companies, and this is one person. Mm-hmm. So even, I know I'm kind of trailing off, but I say that to say is like, this is where I hope music gets back in the space where from a business aspect, we could go back to celebrating each other, because some of the best work is being done now. And we can't even I can't say we, I'm saying we to be fair, but it's like they can't even really celebrate and be in each other's spaces right now. Yeah. And this is some of the best business we're seeing.
Yeah, it's definitely quite unfortunate. I wonder. So, what advice? And that's what I was asking you.
Yeah.
How do you still either work with or associate with YG? Because I think what he did though, or his response, that wasn't very Karen Civil.
Hey yo, you're locked in with Waking Up TV.
If there, again, we don't know about any investigation or whatever, but we did see a TMZ headline of him being detained. If he is subject of an investigation or inquiry, hopefully he didn't do anything, but if he is, this is probably not the way to respond. I think the authorities or whoever would want to see him fail would probably be like, thank you for tweeting B team, tap in, right? I'm wondering, when you see that, do you be like, bro, take this down, please? This is, even if that's a thing, that should be an offline conversation. And reacting like that, I'm pretty sure investigative bodies or even the internet that's now talking about this, right? This has gotten a whole set of legs because the internet is talking about his acknowledgement of
I think more importantly, because he's not fixated or thing on investigation. I think the problem is it creates conversation, and it creates this. It creates people creating a narrative and a POV on what exactly he means by that. Because could that have meant, again, even say for myself, I know what I meant when tweeted. So it's like for him, what exactly does that mean? What were you trying to say? But that's something I would offline say to him, and I'll be transparent. That's not something, you need to bring eyes to right now, especially in this social media game. There's no post and delete. Everything is too fast. I'm realizing even for myself, everything is too fast, too quick, and it's never really gone. So again, in that situation, I don't want to keep talking. I'm talking about them as if products. These are both two individuals who knew each other at a point, right? Who still know each other at a point, who created music, who had personal conversations, who's partied, and who's done everything in between. So that's why I don't subscribe to creating conversation, critiquing them or anything, because life's not easy at all, especially when it comes to being a Black man. So, and certain choices and certain you do. So I don't even want to be on the internet entertaining, commenting, and I mean that from both sides. Yeah. So I will say, even on my end, I will give the apology if people thought like that was my being intrigued to a conversation, not fully knowing the context means I'm co-signing. That's not it at all.
Okay, what are your, and before I do want to ask you about Max B if you're willing to talk about it, but right before then, what are, I feel like the West Coast, I've said this, I feel like the West Coast, Drakeo's murder, I feel like it's probably the most ignored rapper death I've seen of recent times. Just with modern technology, I think people usually come to some piece figuring out what happened, who did what. This was like a cold case. It looks like it's heat back up. We don't know what's going to happen, if there will be any arrests or any other updates. I know you reside on the West Coast and you work with those West Coast artists, but I wonder what you personally feel about it seems like the cops are trying to bring some type of peace to the family. Do you have any thoughts about it, or do people just don't give a damn?
Hey yo, you're locked in with Waking Up TV.
Honestly, I haven't been too invested in understanding the case and knowing where it lives. I'm not in, I don't live in LA no more.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah.
Don't tell me you moved to Houston. Now. I ain't trying to dox you, but you know,
Oh my gosh. No, no, no,
everybody
no.
moved to Houston. That's what's
Oh
going on.
no, 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 no. But like the situation itself, that's another one where I'm saying this is sensitive. I don't like to, because this person still got a mother, they got children, and I'm not about to be on this on the phone thing POV and like this is entertainment.
Yeah.
With this situation, like, and that goes for him and his family. So I don't really. That's another one. A civilian in this situation, I'm always going to lead with empathy, because this is somebody who, his family still has to hear these things and stuff like that. And I think of them first.
Okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Because I don't really have, like, it's one of those things where, and I really mean it, where I really have no context or thing to add,
Okay.
to say. Yeah.
Definitely makes all the sense. Hey, switching gears a little bit. It was interesting that that comment also came up because I felt like you were also, because you're kind of behind the scenes a lot, and even though people do
Yeah.
know you as a public figure,
Yeah.
you're not the one to like, hey, I'm hosting a press conference to like clear up whatever
Yeah.
misunderstands you have about me. But you were
Yeah.
in the media like a few days before, and it was regarding the Max B thing, and a
Yeah.
lot of people, when viewing that, I saw people kind of saying, you know what, rather than analyzing that situation, let's look at a pattern of what we've heard people say publicly that maybe even if we don't have understanding, it's like one of those like, hey, if 10 people tell,
Continue on.
yeah, if
Yeah.
10 people say this, I'm going with this. Could you explain what happened with the Max B thing? He had put up a post
Yeah,
saying that.
it's really easy. It wasn't Max. We had an internal. Let me just take it back one. I'm not his manager. It's really important. I continuously say that because he has had someone, Black Tie has been on his team for 18 plus years. And that would never be fair for me to run around and take the credit and thing for that, because he's been with him. Max has a partnership through his label with my company. And we're going to continue to move forward as far as helping with his digital footprint and everything else. So I like kind of said it. You know how certain people on teams are who may be upset by something, post something, it comes down in an emotional state. It goes back to what I said to you, where things can't come up and go down. People already have these triggers when it comes to me, and you move forward. It's not much I can do, especially when you're in the state of working with, you may have 150 clients throughout 15 years and 4 may be upset. I got to just take it for what it is. Who am I to think I'm above discussion? And another thing is, I can't run to the internet to hold my own press conference when I'm busy.
Yeah, I'll definitely say,
yeah,
when you work behind the scenes, I've always said the manager, a label owner, and a lot of people who work these jobs that are very important, but you're not the public facing or the quote unquote, the talent. It's a thankless job. Like, people only hear about you when someone's throwing you under the bus, but you never hear the praises loud enough when you're doing an amazing job. So it's one of those things where, like, people might go off, well, I've heard 5 things about her, and it's like, well, you didn't hear the 200 things that were amazing,
of course,
right?
that's never gonna be yelled and thing. Which I don't. Which now, at a sense, I had to find this hindsight, because I used to get so offended by it. But now, when you look at it, think back to even when you were younger, right?
Mhm.
And you took a test.
Yep.
Say the test was 10 problems, and you got 8 right.
Yeah.
You would go home, or your teacher or whatever, they would say, what? They're highlighting the 2 wrong. Oh, you got a B, you got a thing.
Yeah.
We've always focused on the negative. I'm not going to negate it. Situation that like happened, I answered it. I think I gave Shade Room, no, we're fine. We move forward, and that's that. And that continues on, because business still needs to be handled. It's unfortunate, but I got to take, to be in this business, it's good and bad. And that's a part of it,
So, just for clarification, was that Max B on his? Because it felt like Max B was saying, Karen Ciivil
No.
has my Twitter, and she is acting like we're cool. We're not cool.
No.
I fired.
No. So let's do this. Me and Mac are absolutely fine. I didn't hack his Twitter. So that answers the question there.
Okay. But
Okay.
Was it him on Instagram or no?
Hey yo, you're locked in with Waking Up TV.
Okay, so okay, so it looked like there's
it's a social media team, but I don't want to go into fully cating the business, but it was a social media team.
Okay.
Wasn't Max. Him and I spoke, thing, fine, and go from there.
Okay. Is he comfortable with you moving forward? Because I think you said you and your team are going to continue to at least operate his Twitter socials. Is he personally? Because
No, we're still going to continue to work alongside him to help him
is
with
he
his
okay with
digital
that?
footprint. Yeah, but he continues to run his digital footprint. He has all of his thing and he'll still get assistance. But yes, nothing changes, still moving forward.
Okay. And I see you had pointed out, at least in the write up that you did. I do know, and I noticed quickly because you brought Max to my attention several times.
Yeah.
In just trying to make sure I was aware of things he was doing. And I got to be honest with you. I think, I don't know, maybe the team is fractured now, but whatever the team is, I guess that's you're
Mm-hmm.
included, and also French. I've seen someone just Fabio mentioned it. Max B comeback from jail has been a knock him out the park. It's one of those where, like, for an artist that hasn't, he was
Yeah.
never like a Billboard chart topping artist before he got locked up. He
Yeah.
was, of course, loved in New York and loved in certain circles,
Yeah.
but he's came back out and he's been on a run. And that acknowledgement has to be given and shared among a bunch of people. Could you kind of describe, like, how did you even get linked up with Max B initially once he got out? And because I seen
Oh
you
no,
listed a few
it
things you
was
guys did.
it was before he even got out. So I was in communication with him, with his manager Ty, throughout the years. We would talk. And it was like we had a plan for when he came home. So from that plan, he told me all the things that he needed and we worked it out. So it was like GQ, he do the Jets game, he meets Shador. He has his home dinner and all of the media, his first day home show. So that worked well. But then at the
How
same
much
end,
intimately are maybe your team like involved with that?
100%, like
Okay.
making that flow and go, his um his waves giving and all of that. It's literally, that's the whole premise of when people go, oh, Karen disappeared. No, it's the work has to speak for itself to be out there and thing, because everybody else, his job is doing the music. Ty management job is making sure he gets there, manage the situation. He wanted a label, he signed, he's good there. So it's like taking care of his label situation and all of those moments from, incorporating him into a fashion sense. Brittany, who worked on that end. So it's like bringing in the team down to his touring, bringing in Ash, who do all of those moments and things for him. So again, it's being able, is really important with somebody like him, is to have an amazing team, bringing them together to help lead him to victory. And that's the important part.
Yeah,
With
no.
him, we're super excited about. So even leading up to like getting him to that BET stage, you have to understand this was somebody who was in jail. Now he's on this BET stage performing. Then you saw him at like ESPYs. All of those moments for him are amazing. And that's a testament to, his hard work and the dedication of everybody around, um, making sure that this is successful.
Okay, and just asking the obvious question here, because I think when people think about these things, they
Mm-hmm.
think maybe, okay, let's say it's not Max and there's another team that you guys just had a disagreement, whatever the case. Is it a money situation? Is it like,
Oh no,
is it
it's
a
not.
money grab? Like,
It's
well, is
no, it's not. I know you're peering for more. It's not that at all. It's not a money. It's, God forbid, it's not a money situation. It's nothing like that when it comes to Max. It's nothing like that.
okay? Then I only mention that because
Yeah.
obviously, like, people
Yeah,
will look
no,
back
we're
at.
not in that place where it's disgruntled. I know I've heard those conversations. It's no disgruntledness, nothing like that having to do with any financing or thing like that.
Okay, all right. So
We're
but
good. We're
to
good. We we're good. Addressed it and move forward from it. And like you said, it's one of those things where I'm on the back end of things, and when I come front facing, you hear these little things, people run with it. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and people are so fascinated with what you do specifically because it seems like such like a one-on-one thing. How do you even like procure new clients, or like how do people feel, or when do they get to the point where they need a Karen Civil to kind of you know, help with what they got going on? Because it doesn't seem like you advertise, right? It seems like you just
No,
pop up with, someone you're working with. Is it just word of mouth? Is it something that you kind of maybe go to labels to be like, hey, listen, I could do this for your artist? Um,
no,
how does that get done?
No, so now I'm not even outsourcing looking for new work. These are relationships that I've maintained and had already, so I'm continuing to work with them. So people like the Clips to Tiana to YG on and off and things like that. That works for me because that's home team. It's it's business entities and things that make sense. That's as far as artists and talent. The other side for me is pivoting over which people kind of can tell is not so much front facing in music and being the one to be like, hey, I'm here, da, 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 and collecting a check for it. Where now I want the brands to hire me to help identify the influencers, the people, and everybody else that they should be hiring. I mean, they should have at their events to make them more extraordinary. So that's where it kind of lives now, where, you know, when I went to New York recently, people were like, oh, are you here for Summer Jam? I'm like, no, that would be great to go and attend. Usually I would be at something like that, but I actually have an activation in the Hamptons with
Oh, wow.
Quavo and Popeyes. So when you think of that, but even with that, you remember, the lyric that Migos had with Popeyes and leading back into that and the budgeting and everything that goes into that. So that's what a weekend and thing will be. So to answer your question, it's through the relationships that I have with people who will come and say, hey, I would love for you to work with this person and things like that. But I am not going out my way to outsource things because there's so many amazing people now. There's so many different resources that I don't need to super extend myself out as much.
Mm.
So it's very boutique style.
It's
It's
just,
very boutique style when it comes to the artists, but the brands have been amazing. Like today, I worked with 2K, which was
oh,
absolutely
nice.
amazing. All of their shooting all of their content. And then even for that, similar what I used to do at Beats by Dre. And if I say it in the lamest terms, what I like to do is make sure, because they have budgets, let me make sure that I am hiring. I'm booking the up and coming rapper. I'm using Black people for photography, videography, basically, all the production and digital needs, getting them paid out for that and things like that. Artists, talent that just makes sense in the wheelhouse. Hey, pull up, come play video games, and we have a nice check for you. So those
Mm.
moments have been really, really cool. And then they're not as strenuous as, yo, you got to do this verse, we got to go to this show, we got to da 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 da. So now it's about working smarter and not harder.
Uh, you know, I've
Yeah.
listened to your come up story. Your story inspired people even like me, people who were getting into the game, not being rappers, and especially like in an independent, like figure it out on your own way.
Yeah.
I remember the early stories of like maybe it was you working with Wayne and you help
Yeah.
kind of helping him with the coming into the digital era, setting up a website, this
Yeah.
and third. How much more complicated from like back then, you know, to now is the stuff you do behind the scenes?
Oh, it's 100% more complicated because everything is in real time now. So you don't even get a second to breathe or to even give it a beat. It just feels like everything is magnitude and so quick. But at the same time, I do appreciate it. I have an amazing team of people around me that I learn from that help continue to keep this thing going. But honestly, it's just continuing to. I gotta subscribe to everything, to the YouTube, to Instagram, to TikTok, like all of the platforms. And when I say subscribe, not to just the channel itself, but to their newsletters and things to know what the most recent thing update is, what's happening, how we can collab or partner with their platform and an artist, or with my brand and a partnership they may have. So yes, just continuing to educate myself. It's a non-stop like library of
Mm.
just continuing to gain knowledge from it.
Hey
Yeah.
yo, you're locked in
No,
with
that's
Waking
fire.
Up
No,
TV.
listen,
Yeah.
I always
I gotta keep learning and keep going. But I appreciate you giving me this clarity. We haven't talked like this. We're usually talking DMs. So I appreciate this clarity.
Well, I think we've had our offline convo, but we haven't had like people listening to us because, we haven't had much public conversation.
Yes, we have been to a point where, well, I will say, because people will hit me like, oh, I hate ACT. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do with that, because
I definitely know you're an advocate for me. I know.
No,
and by the way,
you know why?
and I've always
because it's important. Let me tell you why. It's important at the same time. Yes, your POVs and things may get crazy, and it was at a point, even say somebody you may have on your show, different things like that. But again, cannot stop you from having a point of opinion, can't dictate it. And like, who am I to allow? And the same thing I tell artists, who are we to allow our ego to assume this conversation can't happen? Sometimes you're not necessarily supposed to see it. It's not supposed to be something you're looking for, or give them the full context. So that's how I always approach you when it comes to stuff. So when I see a post, I'll be like, hey, let's give him full context so that he can properly formulate his own opinion. And let's not give him one. Unless you're doing paid media or an ad, you can't tell him what to think,
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you. I think your way of dealing with things and your approach to stuff, I could tell. Shit, we've had those convos of the artists who definitely need you. Don't know why they don't, but listen, keep doing a great job. I'm glad you clarified this.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And honestly, chat, I do not that I would sit here and lie to y'all anyway. I do believe that there is a bigger conversation about this idea of narratives and paid media, whatever.
Yeah.
I do believe that's where she was probably like just aiming at.
No, that's 100%. I want to offline with you, because a real important part of context I want to continuously add is the conversation can't keep stopping or stop with Drake. It's a bigger conversation outside of him, and he's not the start and he's not the final. And we got to stop making him seem like he's the syndicated boss of this shit, and he's not. So it's like, it's a bigger conversation of where media is going. That's what needs to happen. But
I've said that really media has turned into, it's like Democrats and Republicans, where it's like, it's the sides are so separated that if you align with or you like certain people, you kind of cannot also, you can't still.
Hey, and again, guess what? Why do I feel like that's exactly what it is when it's now, it feels like it's very red and blue, very like Republican, Democrat. If you like this person, you can't like that. It's either black or white. We no longer live in the gray zone, and that's not fair.
Yeah,
for my business,
I don't know
how
what
I operate, I can't do that. Yeah. No. The thing is, I can't be like, oh, I work with this person, I can never listen to a Kendrick Lamar song, or I can never listen to a Drake song. No, I'm not doing that.
Well, I need this. I said this before. The bigger conversation to me is that yes, we could say Drake and Kendrick are just like they're Kamala and Trump, but the real issue is that it's about ideologies that are different that people believe now. Again, the battle caused it, right? It was the battle between, people who are like cultural and kind of have certain values versus people who, I don't even want to use cultural as a distinction. It's just that are different. And that has turned into, hey, okay, let's figure out what artists fit on what side, right? And the easiest way is that, okay, well, if you still collaborate with them or you went to the pop out or whatever, you're on that side. And if like you're kind of like, say at the World Cup, if you're like the two rappers in Drake's booth, you're on this side, and everyone else, we're just waiting on you to pick a side because
hey yo, you're locked in with Waking Up TV.
Even the rappers themselves have said, if you stay in the middle, it just doesn't work out, right? DJ Khaled, exactly. So I don't know. That's a bigger conversation. Yeah. I don't know if it's worth.
I hear you. Well, fucking call me Future, because he is having a wonderful time.
Future everywhere, huh?
Yeah.
He's bigger than the program, though. That's the thing. You see, if you're not bigger than the program, you got to pick a side. That's the thing. Future is bigger than the program.
Yeah. Fine. Well, consider me that Scorpio baby, because that's the way it needs to be, where we should be able to enjoy things. We don't have attachment to these people and these things outside of our POV. I should be able to go to Fanatics Fest, buy some merch at the 4040, but then still, if I wanted to, in a perfect world, still be able to go to the Knock the Space, which most likely some people did, but they just can't, discuss it.
Okay.
Who knows?
Would you be able to work with, I don't know, if someone from OVO needed your services and it made sense, could you cross the picket line without being disowned
But
by?
hey, I want to reiterate this because there's no picket line when it comes to I run. Like, think Google. Think like I want to be in the breath of a Google or Yahoo or thing like that, right? When you're thinking brand strategy and where your brand is going. Not the right now, which I've said numerous times to a mutual friend, Sidel, which is not the right now, and what they're doing with that brand is so fucking exceptional and amazing. So even if there was a chance from a branding aspect, always Ciivil could partner, do something aligned, do an event with them, fucking amazing. Yes. On that aspect, yes, because that's brand building and world building in the space that I'm living in now. I'm not subscribed or give a fuck about people's he said, she said, and not liking each other.
All right.
It's bigger than that because if you really go look, that's some of the best. Like it is.
And by the way, I like your POV on it because like I've looked at like some of the bloggers and some of the media guys. Like during the battle, I think they took a hard side, and it's kind of like politics.
I don't think you. And two, we're talking with certain media. I think they thought I would think that too, with just invites and things where I'm like, hey, I'm sending you this. They're like, wait, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I understand you may like so and so. We like that too. I understand that's what you want to post, but you can post this one as well. It's like no difference. But a lot of people did naturally take a side. I don't think I need to. I don't think this is one of those things like I run a company to help get you to that next place. I just don't want to operate a couple years. I used to operate in that mess. I don't want to operate in that mess, and it's not necessary. He literally has one of the most premium athleisure wear brands that's fucking killing it with the best material. But we can't, like, people don't want to discuss or talk about that because it's this whole.
Wait, do you think they're hating on Drake then? Because I agree with you, but you're right. Like we
gotta yes, because so many.
We need to turn that up. They're hating on that nigga Drake right now.
No, the thing is, you got to pretend he's not great. It's not hating, but you got to pretend something doesn't exist that is there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh wow. Okay.
Which I'll take it for what it is. Like when you look at that, you can't. If somebody gets excited for the conversation of what Skims is, if you can get excited for the partnerships and the things Skims is doing and not Nocta, that's when I go, okay, that is bias. That is absolute bias in a marketing thing world. He is absolute. Icy Studios and Nocta are doing fucking amazing. Amazing as far as community, brand strategy, events. So good.
Hey, yo, you're locked in with Waking Up TV.
I'm watching.
And I take it back. Let me rewind. I'm not Future. I'm sexy. She walk around comfortably. Ain't nobody. That's a woman.
No. Sexy takes the side. Sexy's on Drake's team. Sexy's on Drake's team. Sexy Red, she on Drake's team. Facts.
No, but if Sissa call her, she gonna pop out with her homegirl. She gonna pop out.
Yeah, that's girl power though. That's girl power.
But it goes back to what I'm saying is
she ain't popping out with no Kendrick. Facts.
Okay, then fine. I'll go back.
Future, I ain't gonna lie to you. Future might be on Kendrick's next first single. I'm gonna lie, like.
This is what I'm saying. Well, consider me Future because this is what it has to be. It's not real because if you look back, I know the managers are probably friends in these situations. They're high-fiving each other, and it all leads back to what? One label situation and things. So yeah.
Yeah. No. Well. Yeah. I'm glad we have to have more acknowledgement of this, and also I agree with you on that conversation. We got to turn that conversation up because again, it doesn't really it doesn't help anyone when we're this divided, but also it is very toxic right now because what happens is this is the pick a side and stay there type of thing where that resembles politics where it's like, okay, when Trump wins, all y'all that didn't vote for Trump, shut the fuck up. And then when a
Yep.
Democrat wins, it's going to be like, hey, listen, you voted for the loser, you shut the fuck up. So it's kind of like really
Yep.
divided rather than saying that, hey, listen, you know what? All right, hip hop's always been competitive. Okay, your artist got this,
Yeah.
my artist got is coming too. Like, and it could be, hey, I like your artist, but I just think my artist is a little bit better, but I still like them both. Now it's
Yeah.
either or.
Yeah, this is unfortunately in this day and age, it's true. It's like if you got to stand here, you stand there. But again, I think it's going to pass. It's going to be short lived. Where we're going to start seeing people have to come back together. We're going to have to start seeing community and certain things again. And I'm gonna look for it because somebody's gonna have to do it, man. Somebody's gonna have to do it because we're gonna need the song. If it's Future to do it, if it's whoever, like it'll
Well,
eventually find
a
its
little
way.
bit is gonna be you. It's gonna be you trying to like
Yeah,
some of these. It feels like a lot of relationships that have just like fractured and severed. Yeah, it's gonna take somebody like you to kind of get those behind the scenes calls,
yeah.
meetings, because if we are to think that by the grace of God there hasn't been anything super like physical or tragic that's happened in all
hmm
of this, but it's a lot of probably words being thrown and mud being slung. If it's something
That
salvageable, and
that's what I really think when it comes to them too. I think it's something salvageable. It's conversations outside of them that
between what
they'll.
two, Drake and Kendrick, or Drake and YG?
No, Drake and YG.
Oh, because I was
No,
gonna
I'm
say
going
Drake
back to
and
what stuff.
Kendrick. If I'm
Yeah.
Drake, even when I'm 85, I'm kicking that nigga
No,
wheelchair
but
like dead
but
ass.
guess what?
Yo,
Guess what? That's fine though. Where we still move on. Where we see Drake and Pusha, that's not a like, oh my God,
yeah,
they've
yeah, yeah.
had their lyrical squabbles, and we moved on from it. We didn't make it a thing where it's like, all this, all that. You still are able to enjoy the music. Hopefully, we get to that place with the other battles that has happened because it's just caused so much like it's like smoke in the air and you're just fanning it away, where it's just been a lot of that commotion, pollution, and thing in the air. And then I want to add, you said something when I was referring to Ross when I did Joe's podcast, and you're like, oh, we're moving the goalpost. I want to be transparent and say something because I couldn't give full context. I don't necessarily like to do the podcasting thing and be on the internet and give my takes like I once did because you know why? These are people that I have to see. You
Yeah.
understand that I thing with, and I never want to be in a place because now I see them differently in hindsight. So I look at it differently. Even in that situation, Drake, it maybe is four artists who can still do over 100, 200,000 plus a week, who really is set the tone and thing. That is Drake. That's no question about it. Right.
Hmm.
But when you think of somebody, when I think of somebody like Ross now, even Ross, I don't think of him as an artist first. I think of him as a business because he has the suds, he does the car thing. I'm not negating his music, but I just haven't thought about his music in that extension. I see him as the business person who has all these other entities, who's now making music, who's now going back to just, dropping this project without those guys, without the Meek and the Wale. So again, not taking anything away from him, but the landscape looks different for him now
Yeah,
because this new audience don't remember the Ross from 10 years ago. We know him like, oh shit, he owns the car
the car show.
the
Yeah.
car tour, yeah, the car show, the big
I'll say
plane.
this though. I think his comments about like
hmm
even when Drake dropped and he was talking about,
Yeah.
hey, listen, this guy dropped 3 albums. He was talking at it,
Ah.
it's one of those things where if you're a legacy
Yeah.
act and
Yeah.
if I don't know, let me see, like, all right, let's say Run DMC drops some shit, like, or even like Ja Rule at this point, like no one's gonna be like, yo, Ja
Yeah.
Rule, you flopped. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like
Yeah.
Ja Rule is not currently looking at the charts and being like, yo, Drake, like, bro, that's it. Like, yo, you're that's what Ross did. So I think
So
people look at Ross and
okay.
say, if you're trying to be in the game, you put up
Okay.
numbers as well.
Okay, so this goes back to this is what I was saying about conversations and certain things. You see how Ross will come online and do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We expect that from him. It's funny. It's cute. Cool. Would you ever expect that from Drake? Do you think Drake would come on and go ha ha ha? He may leave a comment somebody may catch in a friend's thing, but he's not, right?
I think Drake's having a laugh at this raw shit. He's just letting 50
No,
do it for him.
the thing is, I think quietly, but Drake is not somebody who is going to come online and do that same thing, right?
Okay.
You know, he has people he have relationships with, friendships, who's gonna do it on his behalf. Like, oh, cool. He can't go up and make fun of you. I can though, so I am. So when I think of moments where people then you laughing at the situation, I know you probably see them group texts, you see them things like, oh yeah, you was Jones and my man. It's time for me to say something back. Where I don't look at that as paid media. I look at that as you having an opinion on the side of your friend. So sometimes, like that moment, I'm using that as an example, those moments come up, people will conflict as paid media.
Well, also me commenting.
Times when that is not that. You commenting, you laughing is not doing it. That's not Drake going, hey, Ack, I need you to do that.
No, by the way, me, you commenting. I know your POV. You're always gonna
Yeah.
look at the 4D chess business move that this is set
Yeah.
up for his next 18 months of execution. I get that. I was mostly talking about Joe Button and them because they're heavy on sale. Like they talk hip hop and they wait for a nigga to flop. I've heard them say flat out that nigga flopped. When it came to Ross, they were very liberal. But I think I will say though, and by the way, and I understand like Ross is their friend. Like I ain't gonna lie, 21 Savage is my friend. He didn't do over 100. I think did he do over 100?
Yeah.
And yeah, like I'm not gonna slam 21 Savage for not doing that. As I will Lil Baby. If Lil Baby flop, I'm throwing a parade. You.
Oh my god.
I can't wait. But anyway, no, but I get that, and that's the point. I said, like your opinion, I completely get because you look at everything and you kind of turn it into what you do and what you're about, which is okay. How does this benefit the overall business, especially for a legacy act and someone who's been in the game for like Ross? Like he's been acting since like 2005.
Who's been in it so long and everything else, but at the same time, it's like I didn't hear the album, but I'm not gonna take away from it. It's just the landscape is different. From like 10 years ago, I'm running to not to take away. A couple years ago, I'm running to get it, but my musical taste has changed. The audience kind of changes too, and yeah. So I'm not giving an excuse for that, but I appreciate you having this conversation. We'll see you in the DMs. We're definitely gonna have to do a car.
Come on.
We're gonna have to do a car thing. Like I can't call it a date because people get confused by that. We're gonna have to do a car twinsy thing one day because we're both from Jersey, same car.
No, of course.
We're not rappers.
Yeah. Do you ever come back to Jersey?
I do. So I was there. I'll hit you on the side when I come back.
Okay. All right. You got
because I'm definitely coming back. I'm gonna show you the new thing I'm getting. That's getting delivered for Rod Wave show. It's very serious business.
Okay. Oh, I'm supposed to make Rod Wave this week.
What? You better fucking call me. I love Rod Wave. This is where my fandom comes in. But I love Rod Wave. I'm gonna send you the picture of the car I'm getting.
Hey yo, you're locked in with Waking Up TV.
Yeah. Karen, love you. Thank you for coming on here.
Thank you so much. Love you too. Bye.
All right. Bye, girl.
Oh my God. Don't put this on your Instagram. Those people are mean. Keep this on your YouTube.
Okay. Yeah. We're like, we got 10,000 people watching. So, it's
Okay. And Academics TV, he gets into it. Shit.
Hey, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Anything anti-Drake is anyone who seems to go.
Nah, he don't play. When I say, I be like, God damn, because he posted something. I tweeted. I said, hey, nigga. Excuse me, to use the N-word. I was like, give us a break. Shit.
And let me tell you this. That's what happens when the people, I guess, that naturally, attracts your content. Yeah. They're super fans of, and I tell people, I'm like, listen, when you see Academics TV with some stuff, they're super fans of Drake.
But the thing is, you see how I'm talking to you about it? Real relaxed, calm, my limbs.
What?
You see, like
that's why this conversation, I've already seen it. It's already been posted, and I could see they're like, okay, she didn't mean to like imply that Drake is funding a murder.
No, I even hit because I love hold on, where he at? Jared. I even hit Jared. Was like, oh no, babes. I hope that's not what they're thinking because I don't give that where I'm not like, people like, you don't have to explain yourself. I'm like, no, I like to give, it's not explaining myself, but I like to give an explanation and clarity if it's confusion. Because that's not what I'm on at all. Like these are people, these are people's real life.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. I
Karen, love
appreciate
you.
you, my guy. All right.
Keep doing your thing.
Bye.
Keep killing it.
All right. Bye.
Bye.